Storytime, a harsh lesson in disappointment. So way back when in the year 2006, when I was but a wee lass, an announcement was made that had me super fucking hyped. An ongoing book series that I loved was getting a movie adaptation. The Inheritance Cycle's first book, Eragon, was getting its own film. My 14-year-old self had seen the trailers and it looked amazing. I begged my parents to let me go to the theater and take my fellow bookworm friend with me because she was just as stoked for the movie and just as obsessed with the books. My parents ordered midnight showing tickets. It was to be my first midnight showing ever. For just my friend and I. It was to be a late birthday / early Christmas present. My friend and I could not stop talking about how excited we were for the entire week leading up to the event. Finally, show night rolled around, and the theater was packed. It looked like we weren't the only ones hyped for this flick. People of all ages had showed up to the midnight release of Eragon, and the excitement was infectious. Back then, this particular theater was still kinda new, and unlike now, didn't have assigned seating. To add to this, the theater had way overbooked all of the showings. Literally, they were at capacity and then some. By the time my friend and I got there, were directed to our showing, there was nowhere to sit. Well, there was, but no two seats that were together, and there was no way a couple of 14-year-old girls like us were about to separate in this crowd. Then we spotted a few dotting the stairs, sitting down. At this point, we figured that's our best option too. We sit down and scoot as much out of the way as possible. It was uncomfortable, but we were all, we were still too excited to care. By the way, as I later found out, after all of this, that is actually borderline illegal. It could cause a fire hazard if you block the stairs with your body. And the theater could have actually gotten into a lot of trouble. I don't think they ever did. But, yeah. Just saying. You're not supposed to sit on the steps at a theater. When the movie started, almost all sound of the crowd totally stopped. I remember my friend and I giddily grinning at each other, blissfully unaware of the dumpster fire we were about to witness on screen. Of course, we oohed and awed over baby Saphira, as did many others. Well, then, slowly, we began to notice glaring differences between the book and what we were watching. We set that aside as just, of course, they'd have to cut things down for time. I mean, it's a pretty big book. But then, I didn't cry when a character died. An extremely important character in the book. When he died in the book, I sobbed. But when he died on screen, I felt next to nothing. It was like, oh, that's too bad. They hadn't given this character any real reason for you to give a damn. Then more and more bull ended up happening that was just wrong and destroyed the significance of the events. I remember sharing slightly nervous glances with my friend as we knew this wasn't right. I finally had enough during when Saphira got her flames. What had been an intensely emotional, suspenseful, and incredible scene in the book had been reduced to, oh, by the way, she has fire now. No build-up, no payoff, nothing. I was devastated. I couldn't even enjoy the rest of the movie. It had been one of my most favorite scenes in the book, and it was damn near completely missing, and the entire importance of the event was completely lost. We stayed until the movie ended, but I was almost in tears. It had been awful. Everything about it had been wrong, and we made it known to my parents that neither of us was happy with it. We also made it known that we appreciated them doing all this for us, but they shouldn't waste their time or money to see it themselves. The ride home was filled with mostly disappointed silence. We dropped my friend off at her home, and once we left, I began crying. I had never been so disappointed with a movie in my entire life. My parents felt so bad. I didn't mean to make them feel bad. I just felt awful myself. Later, it turned out my friend and I weren't the only ones who hated the movie. While we were telling all of our other friends to never watch it, people online were doing the same. Everyone unanimously hated this film, with absolutely good reason. As a standalone film, it felt rushed and almost like a Sci-Fi Channel fantasy film with slightly better graphics. As an adaptation of an immensely popular book, it was a damned travesty. The film honestly ruined the inheritance cycle for me. I couldn't recapture my joy at reading the books that were already out, and any of the books to come. To this day, I still haven't finished the series, all because of this shitty movie.